Mango Mustache Media.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Chicano Chingon. I'm your host, NellMari, aka Chicana. This is your other host, Arturo, aka Chingon. If you want to call him that, you don't have to.
You can call me that. Don't worry about it.
Nah, don't worry about that. Anyways, this show is presented by our lovely friends, Hacienda Las Glorias. They're our amazing sponsors, and we couldn't do this without them. So if you want to go give them a visit at First Avenue or Centerpoint Road, you can even
love those guys.
Oh yeah, you can find me at the Centerpoint Road location. I am an awesome server, just saying. So if you get me as your server, you know.
I also show up from time to time, so if you're lucky, say hi to me or some shit. I don't know. You don't.
Lucky is a strong word, but yeah, you can run into either of us there or some of our other friends at the Hacienda gang, and. Yeah, this show is also produced and distributed by Mango Mustache Media. If you want to learn more about them, you can hit up our producer, Alex Schulte, or check out the website, mangomustachemedia.com/Chicano Chingon. And yeah, learn more about our little studio, what we got going on. This is a pretty sick studio.
This studio is fucking awesome. We changed angles from the last episode.
Yeah.
And now I got a blue light. I think I had a blue light before. I don't know, but it's still really cool.
And we're on the same side of the table.
Yeah. That means don't say some shit, bro. I'm closer. Just kidding. I could have thrown mangoes at you last time. So.
Oh, we also got this bowl of mangoes. I'm
with
obsessed
mustaches
with it.
on.
With mustaches. And yeah, so how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just vibing on this Tuesday. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good.
Here,
I'm happy to be here.
Can I inform the homies about what this podcast is about here?
Yeah, let our new listeners know. What's up?
All right, let me learn you a lesson real quick. No, this podcast is, it's me and my sister just hanging out, talking about Spanglish events, cool shit happening that we think it's worth mentioning around here. If you're feeling a little too white for your Mexican friends, too Mexican for your white friends, this is your safe space. If you're white or Mexican, you're also welcome here. You
or
are
if you're any of our other Latino buddies, we're all united. We got to stick together.
One love.
One love. Or if you're none of those things and you're just here, that's cool too. We're happy to have you here. That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Being here makes you chingon. That being said.
Honorary.
We
give you that.
Let's get into our... Stop talking over me. This is my show. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, as soon as you looked at me like that, I was like, I shouldn't have made that joke. Let's get into our first topic.
What the hell are you? Sorry, that was a little...
So, can I ask, what are you?
What even are you? Where are you from? What's that make?
From?
What's that?
What are your parents?
I don't know how to respond to that one. What are your parents? What do they look like?
There's more variations. I've been asked every single one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How often do you get asked that on a regular basis?
Lately, not really often, because my name's Arturo. So take a guess what I am, I guess. And I have a mustache like this now. But when I was little, and before the mustache and before the crazy long hair, people were like, "Oh, I don't know what he is. They didn't guess. They guess everything but Mexican.
Yeah,
it's basically, Jewish, black, white with curly hair. It's didn't really, it was fine. But I know. What do you get?
I
know you still get it.
I still get it. This is people ask me at work. People would ask me when I was attending school. When I just go. Just wherever, it doesn't matter. People are a little bold. I get asked if I'm Chinese. I get asked if I'm Middle Eastern, if I'm Indian, if I'm probably missing a few. I've gotten Filipino a few times. One time I got asked if I was Korean, but I think that's because at the time I had like a K-pop hairstyle. Apparently, that's what people referred to it as.
Okay.
It was like the little curtain bang going on thing with the undercut, and my hair was bright blue. So there was that.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I remember that haircut. It looked really nice. But like,
thank you.
I didn't really see it that way.
I was already getting a lot of like, are you Asian questions? So when I had that haircut, it went to, are you Korean? And I'm like, well, that's new. So yeah, but
there's a formula here, I guess, and
Yeah.
you're just following it.
just a little bit of an ethnic smoothie, if you will. And I will say I understand curiosity. If you're curious, you can ask somebody like, hey, like, you don't mind me asking, what ethnic descent are you? I'm just curious, and
Nothing's
whatever.
wrong with that.
But like, when I'm working, bro, and I'm busy and I'm going to check in on my tables and I stop at a table and I ask, hey guys, everything doing okay over here? And they go, yeah, we just have a question. What are you? Wait, no, that's not even how it went. They told me there's these two little old ladies. They weren't that old, but old enough to know that's inappropriate. But they
Okay.
stopped me and asked me like, so we're playing a little game. I was like,
it always starts with the game.
yeah, I was like, okay, what kind of game? I had like, no idea what they were alluding to. They're like, we've just been trying to figure out what you are. And my first thought was, in the entire 30 minutes you've been here, have you guys just been talking about like my ethnicity? You're just trying to figure out what I am. And they're like, so my guess is Middle Eastern. She said Native American. And I'm just thinking, I don't have time for this. And I'm just like, I'm mixed. I'm Mexican, Native American. Can I get you guys anything? Are you okay? Like,
Like
why are we having this
I'm here
conversation?
for a purpose or something. Yeah.
But you know what's weird? A lot of Mexicans will ask me if I'm Chinese.
Or what's that one area in Mexico?
Oh, they'll ask me if I'm from Jalisco.
Yeah.
So the conversation usually goes like this. This was especially around the time like right after Derecho, and there was a lot of like
A lot of they're called paisas.
just like like a lot of construction workers that all came from like Texas. They came here to come, fix up everything. So the restaurant actually like we would get busy like every lunch because there are like 12 of them. They're all just like on a lunch break. They're eating food, and on the regular, I just be asked like, "Are you Chinese?" It is Chino. It's Chino, and I'm like, one of my thoughts is like, just say Asian. There's a word for Asian. And I'm getting offended. I'm not even Asian, but I'm getting offended on Asian people's behalf. Like, not all Asian people are Chinese. But then I'm also like, I'm talking to you in Spanish. I'm like,
This is fluent Spanish I'm coming at you with right
yeah,
now.
like, is this not good enough for you? They'll just be like, are you Chinese? I'm like, no, I'm Mexican. Or sometimes they'll be like, I'm Chicana. And because that has a little more significance to
I feel like that's
Mexican people.
Yeah, deeper explanation. You
Yeah.
know,
They're
Chicano,
like-
Chingon.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and there's also like a difference between how Chicanos talk and how Mexicans from Mexico talk, and just there's different like
the accent.
different accents in every country and whatever. So they'd be like, "It is Chino," and I'm like, "No, I'm Mexican. I'm speaking to you in Spanish. What the hell?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, okay. Are you from Jalisco?" And I'm like, "What?" So they're asking me if I'm from Jalisco, Mexico. And then somebody told me there's like a lot of pale people in Jalisco. And I was like, oh. Okay, because at first I was like,
Shout out to the homies in Jalisco.
shout out to Jalisco. But like,
Represent.
at first, so like, I'm a little confused. I'm like, why are we going right to Chinese? And then I'm like, when they ask me from Jalisco, Mexico, I'm like a little flattered. I'm like, oh my God, they think I'm like from the motherland. And then Dad told me like, there's a lot of pale people in Jalisco. I was like, oh, I gotta go get a tan or something. I've been inside way too long. But yeah, that's a regular thing. And I gotta like, tell people.
Put it back on the rails a little bit.
Yeah, like, is it that serious? I once had a table of like 5 guys who come in regularly, and I'd always speak to them in Spanish. We're only speaking Spanish every time they come in. And like the 5th time they came in, one of the guys, I'm going around taking the orders, like, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? How about you? And he goes, I thought you were Chinese. And he just said that. I'm like,
that wasn't the question.
yeah, I'm like, no. And he goes, all these times I've been here, I always thought you were Chinese. And I was like, and I said to him, like, I've spoken Spanish to you every single time. And he goes, I know. I thought I was surprised a Chinese person knew Spanish like that. And I was like, I don't even have a response for that, man. And also, why Chinese? That's so specific. They're like, oh, well, But like,
It's like, I mean, I work in a Mexican restaurant. I mean, you can kind of just guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying to do that, but
you
like,
have to be Mexican to work in a Mexican restaurant. But if I'm working in a Mexican restaurant and I'm speaking Spanish there, maybe you can,
Like maybe she has some Mexican root. Maybe she's half Chinese,
Hispanic.
half Mexican. I don't know.
Well, also, like, there's other Latinos who aren't Mexican working in Mexican restaurants. But, like, why wouldn't you just assume that I'm Latino if I'm speaking Spanish and I'm working in a Mexican restaurant? I don't know. It's a little goofy. And so then I also have to explain to, like, Latinos that it is not okay to call all Asian people Chinese. And I have to explain that. I'm like, this is the equivalent to being called Mexican when you're not Mexican, you know, because a lot of Latinos don't like that. Like we got a lot of Guatemalans working in both locations of the restaurants, you know. I don't think they appreciate when people just call them Mexicans because they're not Mexicans. They're Guatemalans. There's a difference between,
yeah, they have their own native language too that they still like.
Yeah, they all speak different native languages. It's really cool. So it's just kind of like, why are you doing this? Like, I gotta explain to him, like my boyfriend Elijah is Filipino. They'll ask me like, that Chinese guy who's with you, is your boyfriend? I'm like, he's not Chinese, he's Filipino. But then they'll go, okay, what is that? What is Filipino? And I'm like, okay. So it's an ignorance thing, but you know, just gotta educate people. But
we could even do, is it a problematic thing here right now? Because I mean,
is it problematic? A little bit.
Asking somebody straight up, what are you? That's a little disrespectful. But asking it like, hey, I was curious, you know, where are you from? Are you from here? What's your family's origin or something? It's
all about like, you know, like timing.
Yeah, don't come up to me while I'm serving at a table and be like, hey, you know, put those drinks down. I've been wondering across the restaurant, you know, what are you? What's that mix? You know, me and my buddies have just been, we have money on it. I want to know.
It's more jarring too when you're out and about in public and like somebody just like comes up to you. Cause I've had people call out to me. They're like, hey, I'm just wondering, what are you? And I'm like, I'm trying to buy groceries. I don't want to talk to people right now. I'm grocery shopping. But they're just like, so what are you? And I'm like put on the spot. I'm like, who are you?
Getting oranges.
Like, or people just go like, where are you from? And I always go, Cedar Rapids. And I wait for them to continue. They're like, no, but like, where are you from? I'm like, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I'm just like, if you're already going to come up to me and ask me the question, ask it right. We're already here, you know? So
yeah, think it out a bit more before you get here.
Like, where are your parents from? Oh, they're also from the area. But like, you know, there's like ways to ask, and it's okay to admit that you don't know the right way to ask people if you're curious. Like, because I've had somebody ask me before, like, hey, I'm sorry if, you know,
this comes off a little rude, or
yeah, but like,
me.
I'm just curious, and I'm sorry, I don't have better words, but you know, like, can I ask like what you are, like, descent wise, like, you know, like it's okay to admit that you don't know the appropriate way to ask it. But like, if you're a stranger, don't go up to random people and ask them what they are. Why do you need to know that? You don't got to know that. Just like, what did that do for the rest of your day? Nothing.
Yeah, that's like, it's not information you need to know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, that doesn't stunt my ability to get food from you at the restaurant. Like,
right. And I've had people, like, I've had a customer, this old guy, he's a regular, and he asked me, because I wasn't busy, and I was just kind of like, sometimes when you're not busy, you have time to like just chat with tables, and I don't mind doing that. And he's like, can I ask you a question? And it's okay if you don't want to answer it, but I was just curious, like, can I ask like what you are ethnically? And I was kind of like, okay. And I was like, I'm Mexican and Native American, Cherokee specifically. And he was like, oh, okay, I was wondering because you did look Native American, and I grew up right next to a reservation. He was basically telling me, like, you know, he grew up surrounded by like a lot of Native American friends, and just like his you know, his town, it was very influenced by the culture and everything. So we were just having a conversation about it, and he was just talking about like his experience growing up that way, and how much he admires and respects, like, you know, the culture, at least for the tribe that he grew up near. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, there was a purpose behind his question. He had stuff to talk about, and I didn't really feel offended. I didn't feel like a spectacle, you know? Well,
yeah, it wasn't just like, I'm just curious, and, you know, I'm just hanging out at the bar with my friends. It was like, yeah, this thing has tied to my life. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, though. When I was like 15 and I first started, I was like hosting, I'd be like walking around the restaurant doing my stuff. And this has happened multiple times. I'd have somebody like turn around at the bar and like try to stop me, like, hey, quick question. What are you? I'm like, bro, you see I'm busy. Like, why are you doing this?
Like, I'm running around.
They're like, my guess was, this literally happened. This is very specific. This guy just when I was 15, he stopped me and he was like, "What are you?" And I was like, "I'm Mexican and Cherokee." And he goes, "Oh, I was gonna say Puerto Rican." I was like, "Okay, anything else?" He goes, "No." And then he tried to ask me for my number, and I was like, "I'm 15," and he ran out of the restaurant. He left really quickly. I'm not joking. That was crazy. I still remember that vividly. But yeah, just like weird stuff like that, you know? It's just, there's a time and a place and there's a way to ask. And there's also, maybe you don't need to ask because you don't need to know.
Yeah, curiosity really did kill the cat, all right? You don't have to ask the question.
I'm not going to kill you, but like.
No, I'm not going to kill you, but.
Stop asking.
What's the fart, bro? Like, that's really what it is.
What's the fart?
What is the fart?
For those who don't know, typically in Spanish, you want to say what's up to people, you say, "Hey, ¿qué pasa?" Or, ¿qué pedo? ¿Qué pasa is the more PG-friendly way of saying, "What's up, everybody? How's it going?" You know?
Basically, don't say "qué pedo" to your grandma, is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
¿Qué pedo? Pedo quite literally means fart. So if you translate it to English literally, you're saying, "What's the fart?" But if you're saying that in Spanish, it doesn't sound like that. Because in Spanish, you're saying, "What's up? ¿Qué pedo?" You know, how's it going? But don't say that to your mom or dad like I did.
Like we did.
Yeah.
Well, she said it in Spanish and I said it in English. Both ended up bad. I mean,
yeah. The first time I learned about the phrase "qué pedo," I was in middle school. And I just heard people saying "qué pedo." And I was like, you know, I didn't look up what it meant. I just decided to go off of context clues. And I was like, oh, they're all saying "qué pedo" when they greet each other. They're obviously saying "what's up." This is like a slang version of "what's up."
It's cool. It's hip.
Yeah, it's cool. So I'm going to show my dad that I'm cool and my Spanish is pretty cool. So I saw my dad and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, papá, ¿qué pedo?" And he goes, "What did you just say to me?" And I was like, ¿qué pedo?" And he goes, "Don't ever say that to me again." And I was like, okay. I was so confused. And he goes, "Do you know what that means?" And I'm like, "No." And he goes, it's very inappropriate. Because he couldn't even explain what it meant. He couldn't explain why it was inappropriate. He just told me, "It's inappropriate. Don't ever say it to me again."
I think he kind of got like it came full circle because I was told about that situation. Like you said, like, yeah, I told Dad, ¿qué pedo, what's up? He didn't like it. And I'm like, "Oh, what does that shit mean?" Like, I know I've heard it before, but I didn't know what it meant at the time, like in middle school. So I was like, "Oh, it means what's the fart?" So I think we were in the same car as Dad. And I was like, "Hey, Papa, what's the fart?" And he's like, "Dude, like, why?" Like, I'm pretty sure I heard you talk about that with her. So
yeah, he didn't like that. I think
no.
a few of her cousins have also done that to their dads too. Just saying it.
Emilio for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Emilio,
yeah.
hopefully we'll have him on the podcast. You can talk about like cool cars or something, but
He's a funny guy.
that kid is hilarious.
And he got in trouble for that. And
he's known for not having a very good filter. He's very honest. We call him Honest Emilio.
Honest Emilio.
Yeah, he's our honest Abe.
I didn't know we called him that, but now I know. No, it's a funny phrase. It's really interesting. And I love explaining that to all my white friends because they're like, "What? Why are you talking about fart?" I'm like, "No, we're not talking about fart." I don't know if you ever, the actor Diego Luna?
Yeah, didn't he play...
I know he was in Narcos.
He was in Narcos Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, and he was in... and he was in some Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. I think it was in the newest one.
Wasn't
he was in Rogue One,
One?
yeah, and then he came and he had his own movie. I forgot what it's called, though.
Well,
It's slipping me, but...
He went on... oh my God, why am I forgetting... Conan
O'Brien, yeah.
Yeah, he went on that show and he was talking about "qué pedo," and it was really funny because some people are saying, like, a lot of Mexicans were saying, shouldn't this be bleeped out? Because he just keeps saying "qué pedo," and that's like not really something you can just
say on TV.
Yeah, at least I don't think. I could be wrong. about this, but he was just explaining to like Coney. He's like, "Yeah, so you're saying what is the fart?" And he's just explaining it to him, and it's a really funny interaction because he's just amazed. He's like, "Why is fart inappropriate?" It's weird though, because it's common in Spanish specifically. In Mexico, there's a lot of slang that doesn't, like, when you translate it literally, there's not a lot of significant meaning to it enough to like explain why it's inappropriate, but it's just inappropriate. It's one of those things like,
Well, I feel like a lot of those like words that don't have like words that are easily translated, they're just kind of grouped in. So like the word like shit or fuck, they'll have multiple words in Spanish that mean the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to translate profanities in general, but
Yeah. We figured it out though.
yeah, we learned that the hard way. But no,
Yeah.
it's funny. It's just like there's no specific reason. It's just like, hey, that's the vulgar version of what's up. Don't say that to older folks.
Say it to your homeboys. That's all you got to do. So that was all the pedo.
No more pedo to talk about.
No more pedo to talk about for this week.
Time to wrap it up, I suppose.
Wrap it up. Put a bow on it.
Thanks for joining us again, you guys. It was great having you here. We had a lot of fun. This has been Chicano Chingon with NellMari and Arturo. Gordo. Man of many names. Sorry.
Chingon.
Chingon. Nah, not that one. If you want more of us, stay tuned. We release episodes weekly, and once a month we do a live episode at Hacienda Las Glorias. So maybe you can come check us out there. That'll be fun.
But you can get us wherever you get your podcast, Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere else that I'm missing.
Yeah, just about it. We're everywhere.
We're also on YouTube, but you're probably already watching on YouTube, hopefully.
Maybe, if you enjoy looking at our faces. Also, if you want to keep supporting us, don't forget about us. Give us some love on any social media you can get your hands on, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
TikTok.
We make TikToks.
Unless it's banned already, because it's going to be June when this is released.
Oh my God. Anyways.
Anyway.
Yeah. Show us some love. Don't forget about us. And we will see you again soon. This has been Chicano Chingon. Once again, brought to you
by Mango Mustache Media. Produced and distributed by Mango Mustache Media.
Yes. And once again, sponsored by our lovely friends at Hacienda Las Glorias. Go check them out. And thank you so much, you guys. It's been fun.
Appreciate it.
Mango Mustache Media.